What's next for the country's energy roadmap? Let's find out straight from the source. Joining us this morning is the newly appointed Secretary of the Energy Department, Secretary Sharon Garin. Good morning, Secretary, and thank you for joining us here on Morning Matters.
Good morning.
All right, Secretary, following the onslaught of Tropical Storm Crising, can you give us the latest assessment of the Energy Department on the impact of Crising and its initial assessment on our energy infrastructure?
Good morning and thank you. So far, as of today, our reports were there were like 5 Ilocos Norte, La Union, Abra, Ifugao, and Benguet. Affected sila, but they've been restored na except for Benguet na medyo binabaha pa at nahihirapan pa yung mga tao mag-restore ng electricity. But so far, those are the immediate naman yung response ng mga electric co-ops natin. So far, 20,000 ang affected, pero isa na lang ang natitira ngayon na province na hindi pa namin ma-restore.
Secretary, what about power plants, transmission lines, and fuel supply chains all over the country? Are there any of them that were affected by Crising?
We have this committee actually under NDRMNC also na in charge ng DOE, which is the Task Force on Energy Resiliency. This is where everybody's nagko-converge, so far, nandiyan na rin yung NGCP, nandiyan din yung mga PNOC natin, NAPOCOR, all those agencies. As far as the reports have been sent to us, normal naman yung operations nila. Like our fuel suppliers are okay, pati yung NGCP natin, transmission natin. Even our upstream industry, it's hindi naman siya affected. So only our distribution lang talaga yung affected sa reports natin.
Well, Secretary, can you tell us about the plans of or the contingency plans of the Department of Energy, especially during typhoon season? How do you ensure that there is stable power during and after storms?
So like automatic naman yan, like NDRMC, Philippines is one of the best in these situations because we're one of the least emissions in carbon, pero tayong pinaka most affected when there's a disaster, So we're always ready, and we're probably one of the best in the world in this kind of situation because we experience it all the time. We're next to Japan. I think we're among the best in the country. So we have our committee that we take charge and we respond immediately. For example, dati taon-taon, buwan-buwan pa ma-restore yung electricity sa mga disaster hit areas. But now in less than a month or even within 24 hours, kung kaya, then we restore it right away.
All right, well, Secretary, on other matters, it's only been a week since you took your oath as Energy Secretary. Tell us about your priorities under your leadership. What is your vision for the country's energy landscape? And how would you assess the current state of energy security here in the Philippines?
To be yung score mo to be a good Secretary of DOE has always been the price of electricity, But these things are price of electricity is a long process to make kasi the complications in the industry medyo private driven siya. So we have to make the policies and the policies take time to take effect now. But we will continue with renewable energy as one of our biggest push as mandated by or instructed by the marching orders of the President. Gusto niya mas malinis talaga yung electricity, our power source talaga. So we're pushing for the green energy auction, pang-apat na yata kami, The fourth na. So we will continue with that. In fact, this last auction, we are oversubscribed. And then we will continue with developing more power source as na indigenous sa atin because as what happened with the Israeli and Iranian conflict, we're affected that as far as supply and price is concerned. So we we have plans ng time pa ng previous Secretary Popo, in which I served as his undersecretary for 3 years. The policies that we have issued are sound, and we will continue with that. We will continue to implement. So hopefully that will eventually, maybe not that soon, but eventually that will affect the price and push it down.
Yes, Secretary, I actually wanted to talk about that fourth round of the green energy auction. As you mentioned, you were oversubscribed, 142 bids qualified for that particular round. What does that indicate about the strong appetite of investors when it comes to green energy here in the Philippines?
Halimbawa yung total of, we bid out mounted solar, meaning yung nasa ground, nakikita niya ng mga solar farms. We also, for the first time, we have floating solar, rooftop, and iris. This is yung may combination na ng mga batteries, ano. So it's sobra-sobra yung interest. In fact, for ground mounted, I think you can triple yata triple ng offer namin ang nagbid eh. So that means there's a lot of appetite. And there are a lot of daming companies natin na kaya magpatayo ng solar farms and may capacity financially and technically. And then marami ding foreigners na interested sa Philippines. That just means that there's so much, we have enough potential to be one of the leaders in the world in renewable energy. And that also means that the policies are in place. They're following what the president is hoping for, that we will have at least 35% of our capacity by 2030 all on renewable. So maganda yung traction niya. We have seen this in our previous auctions also. Sa pump storage natin na award natin is about almost 7,000 megawatts. Malaki yun. Biggest in the world, I think. So I think there's a good appetite. People, our investors are interested. The policies are in place, and it will happen eventually. We will meet our targets.
Well, Secretary, the ERC did release the final GEAR4 prices. For instance, it's 4.48 pesos per kilowatt hour for ground-mounted solar. It's 6.52 for floating solar. Do you think that's one of the factors also why there was a strong interest? Because these prices are relatively affordable by Philippine standards compared to our other alternatives. And do you think these rates are competitive enough to balance a strong interest from investors as well as for the consumers as well?
Well, their interest is because it's not just in the price; it's the long-term contracts that they get if they win this. So medyo may assurance sila financially. I think about, if I'm not mistaken, some are 20 years, no. So the prices are competitive. It's a good price. Some might say na mababa siya, pero there are so many parties interested. So I think ERC did a good job in price wise. So it also means that we are maturing in that market, na yung price ng supply chain natin, financing natin, we have those in place already, and it's not as difficult anymore for our investors to dati kasi mahal-mahal ng solar now it can compete almost, sana someday it can almost compete with coal, which is the cheapest.
Well, Secretary, part of this mix, as you mentioned, is floating solar and energy storage, which are relative new to the Philippine grid. Are we ready to integrate that kind of infrastructure as well as regulation in order to support it and even scale it?
I mean, floating solar, just to explain, floating solar, you can do that halimbawa sa LLDA or sa lakes natin, even on our fish ponds, no? Or bodies of water, and it doesn't occupy, hindi niya kinakain ang agricultural natin. In fact, some say that it's beneficial if it's sa mga fish ponds. So this is a new technology for us, not in other countries. It's more complicated kasi may mga connections ka pa na aayusin dahil galing sa tubig yung and then it has go on land. But these are new, and even ang construction nito is more complicated. Pero I think and even the what did you mention, the battery, the storage one?
Energy storage, yes.
If your question is it ready for our grid ready? Well, they all get naman system impact study from NGCP before they embark on the project. So, gagawin yung SIS, yun yung tawag. They will check kung pwede ba makakayanan ng grid natin, and they all get naman before they start their project.
Well, Secretary, lots of terms, technology being thrown around, but as you mentioned, the question for most Filipinos is mapapababa ba nito ang presyo ng kuryente? So what can Filipinos expect from the green energy auction? Will this lower electricity prices, improve reliability, and expand access across the country?
Yes, ma'am. It's complicated. It takes me a long time to explain kasi may complicated talaga yung electricity. But parang simple lang, no? Kung marami tayong nag-green or nagre-renewable or even put up power plants in the Philippines, we have more supply. Mas maraming supply natin. Kung mas maraming supply mo sa economics lang, kung mas maraming supply mo kaysa sa demand mo, talagang bababa yung presyo. And I think that will happen in the Philippines because sobrang ngayong interest sa renewable dito, and also we have exploration and other power plants that are being built. New technologies are coming in. So I think eventually, not today, nor tomorrow, but in the future, the market forces, kasi puro private, hindi namin madiktahan, hindi kami nagdidikta ng how they will charge. That's on the part of BRC. But if dumadami siya, and we have it already at mababa na yung pagbenta nila ng power, then I think eventually, sometime soon, the market forces will react na bababa yung presyo.
Well, the government does have a target of 35% of renewable energy by 2030 and even 50% by 2040, which is quite ambitious, but why not, right, Secretary? But in the meantime, you did say on the big story that the original Malampaya gas reserve may only last until 2027 to 2030. So right now, how is the Department of Energy preparing to secure new sources? I understand that there are drilling operations being done right now at Malampaya, Secretary.
Yes, 2020, between 2027 to 2030, malapit na yan. Mga 3 years, no? Konti na lang. But in anticipation of that, nung umupo yung presidente, in-extend niya yung contract ng Malampaya. And then in that contract, they were told, okay, this is extended, but you have to drill because we know that it was depleting already. So right away, the president reacted to that. Something that should have been done years ago pa. Hinintay pa natin last minute, no? Pero buti na lang naagapan on this administration. So they're drilling now 3 wells. 2 wells have good prospects, meaning parang maganda yung mga tails niya. Kasi nagdi-drill na sila ngayon, yung sand na habang nagdi-drill kaya inuhukay mo yan. So they can tell from the pressure, from the rocks that they get from there, na mukhang maganda yung chances niya. And if that happens, now we have sources from those 2 wells, additional sources, then it will extend Malampaya up to 2037. So at least covered tayo doon. And then they're drilling a 3rd one, which will be a new discovery, hopefully, and we're very praying that there will be a new source there. And I think that will be additional pa. So we're, at least Malampaya is now ongoing, and within the year, we will find out if it's enough source for us.
Well, you did mention, Secretary, 2 wells you're optimistic that 2 of these wells could produce, but realistically, when can we expect these wells to produce, considering that malapit na nga yung depletion ng Malampaya?
It will, if we discover this year, then it can be part of our system na by next year. So 26. So mabilis lang. Mabilis yan kasi with the president opted to sign the extension on an all-Filipino consortium na yan ngayon. And I think they're also more concerned rather than have foreigners and Malampaya. They're more concerned of what is the effect on our people. No? So within the year, lay down lang nila yung within the year, we find out they have to lay down the pipes, connect yan sa system natin. It will take them a few months and then probably by end of next year, it will be connected already.
But Secretary, at the same time, the Philippines is mostly reliant on imported LNG. If I'm not mistaken, are we 80% reliant?
When it comes to gas, we're 60-40, no?
60-40, okay.
60-40 tayo. Yung mataas yung coal eh. I think what you mean is coal is about 90%
yes.
imported from Indonesia. And that's also something that we are concerned about. That's why we want to drill more, have more renewables kasi hindi pwede na dependent tayo sa isang country. So hopefully with Malampaya or more types of Malampaya, we're hoping that more contracts will be awarded within this administration. And I think that will happen. So, and more renewables. So mas independent tayo. Hindi lang energy security, kundi energy sovereignty ang makukuha natin.
Well, Secretary, you do have 3 years left under your term as Secretary of the Energy Department. What are some of your low-hanging fruits, goals in the next 3 years?
We want, one of the first things that I did was to continue the people and then the policies within the DOE family. And then now we're reviewing the ask of the people, how to push down the prices. So that means reviewing the whole industry from distribution, transmission, generation, ano ba yung mas mababa. So we're working on all that and more sources. We want more sources of energy in the Philippines. We're just continuing what was started by Secretary Lutilia before. More sources, more indigenous sources in the Philippines. So we'll work on that. We want to work on what we have started already with Secretary Lutilia and maybe add some more that might improve the energy service in the Philippines.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That was Energy Secretary Sharon Garin. Thank you, Sec.
Thank you.